Our royal commentator on the West Coast there, over in Los Angeles, the great Kinsey Schofield. Welcome, Kins.
5 hours of your life you'll never get back.
That's one way of putting it. Now, you and I spoke on Monday, and it was just about to come out. I think it was the following day, wasn't it? Well, we've now had to endure it. And, you know, I didn't think it was going to be that good. We obviously talked a lot about the fact it was a boring subject, the boring sport. Nobody cares about it. Load of rich, privileged people, you know, riding around on little horses. Very cruel for a kickoff. So we thought it would be bad, but it isn't bad. It's awful. I mean, it is terrible. It is so dull. The Guardian over here said it was unintentionally hilarious, and their critics summed it up. He said, they like this, he said, "It's a show about polo made by Prince Harry, who likes polo, and polo is the stupidest, most obnoxious sport known to humanity. It's the playground of the rich." Basically, this idiot has made a programme about him and his world, and I'm sure that it's fascinating to him and the privileged few mates of his, these sexist South Americans who play the sport, but it's of no interest to anyone else. This series doesn't make any effort to make it interesting to anyone else. It is a mega dud, isn't it?
This just feels like, to me, the ESPY Awards and the Pat Tillman Award, where Harry's association spoiled the entire thing. If you are a lover of polo, which I'm not going to judge you if you are, although I do think that it's cruel to animals. If you are a lover of polo, this show did not do you any favors. It did not do your sport any favors. It did not elevate it in a positive way in any shape, any way, shape, or form. My favorite line was, "It's clattering and niche and feels like a spoof documentary designed to play on the screens in the background of episodes of Succession," which is brilliant, because that's exactly what it felt like. It just felt there was no meat, there was no heart. And yeah, this is Harry's favorite sport, but like, we didn't even get Prince Harry talking us through that. I mean, Harry, why do you play? You play because of your grandfather, you play because of your father, you play because of your brother. I mean, that is probably what Netflix was sold on, but there is no mention of his family, and that's the only reason that Netflix gave them this opportunity in the first place. I really feel like Harry and Meghan did not recognize the sense of urgency that was going into these last few projects. Their deal has to be in jeopardy based on the negative reaction that we've seen to polo. And I'd also say Meghan is probably, hurt a little by the reaction. But will she be able to take the criticism when it's her turn in 2025 and people aren't just criticizing a show with a bunch of strangers on it that you were behind the scenes on? People are going to be criticizing her personally, because her project is personality driven and it all relies on her.
Yeah, and just another critique. This is from the Decider website, the influential Decider site. It just said straightforwardly, says this: Polo is, this is the programme, Polo is a mostly boring look at a sport that very few people outside of elite circles have any particular interest in. Now, skillful documentary makers can take any old subject and make it interesting to a wider audience. The problem with Polo, Harry and Meghan's production, which they boasted so much of, produced by Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So there's no hiding place. We know it's down to them. This programme makes no effort to appeal to anyone except his cronies in the jet set of Polo. So I'm sure they all find it fantastic and fantastically fascinating, but for the rest of us, it's just a bore fest. And, you know, at one point his mate Nacho Figueres, he goes, "Nacho lives and breathes Polo. Who cares? And who is he?" You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I just don't think that they understand or truly believe that that people don't buy into this. Because if I were Prince Harry and I really believed in this project, well, first of all, I'd like to point out the fact that Meghan was at an event for Tyler Perry last week with the head of Netflix. What a great opportunity for them to walk down the carpet singing Tyler Perry's praises, but also saying, and guess what? We're so excited for Polo to come out next week.
Yeah.
Where was that, Kevin?
Yeah.
She was right there with the head of Netflix at that Tyler Perry event in LA. Also, you know, where is Prince Harry talking about Polo? If you truly believe
you're right. They haven't promoted it at all.
And Kevin, do you remember when they went to Jamaica to promote the Bob Marley movie that was Paramount's project?
Yeah.
They don't do anything, any promotion for their own content. How does that make sense?
They should be out there plugging this because it needs a lot of plugging, to say the least. And of course, they're both pretty much throughout 5 episodes, 5 feeble hours of empty pap, self-indulgent pap, to be honest with you. Both Harry and Meghan are pretty much completely conspicuous by their absence. They both appear for a few nanoseconds, Harry towards the end. I mean, hardly in it at all, so the main attraction isn't there. Just a bunch of unknown South Americans. Big deal, who cares, as I say. She crops up towards the end, wafting around in a ridiculously inappropriate white gown blowing in the wind, standing near to her friend Serena Williams, who just looks like she'd rather be anywhere else in the world, just like I felt while I was watching it on TV. Get me out of here. I mean, God, what a disaster. And as you implied earlier, you alluded to, Kinsey, no doubt about it, this has to put the final nail in the coffin of their $100 million contract with Netflix. Netflix aren't going to want to know after this, are they?
I don't think so. I was surprised to see the producer of this program singing their praises, saying that they were super easy. The key word that he used was to collaborate with, as if somebody whispered in his ear, "Can you please say that we're super easy to collaborate with?" Because that's one of the words that are typically used when they're being criticized, whether it be in the Hollywood Reporter or the Wrap or one of the other industry publications here like Puck News. That said that this was not going to connect, Kev. We've talked about that for months. And it was Puck News that said their Netflix contacts didn't believe that this project was going to connect. I think that this has proven to be true, that it does not connect. And I just don't know where we go from here, because there are the rumors that Netflix is in some way, shape, or form attached to the retail side of American Riviera Orchard. If that's the case, how do they move forward? Do they offer Harry and Meghan a much smaller sum for their next go round and try to hide that for their own egos? And saying to Harry and Meghan, look, this is going to look really bad if we fire you too right after Spotify. What do you do?
But what are Netflix getting out of this couple? Nothing. Now, this was the couple that wanted to turn themselves into sort of titans of the television industry, Hollywood bigwigs. But the point is, people who are good at television, they understand what's going to be popular, what people will want to watch. It's a mass medium, and you have to appeal to the masses, to a mass market. These two, Harry and Meghan, haven't got a clue what normal people will be interested in, what they want to watch. They just haven't got it. They haven't got it.
I don't know. I argue with you because they refuse to give up the titles. They know that the only thing that is interesting about them is their relationship.
With the title, yeah. But they haven't got the stuff. They don't know how to make television. I'm sure they had a lot of help here, but you know, we heard that when Netflix executives first saw this series, you know, this would be some months ago, when it was screened to them in a darkened screen room full of bigwigs from Netflix, there were audible groans. And the word we heard, as you just said, Kinsey, was this series is not expected to connect. I think we know what they meant now. What they meant to say was this series is utterly dreadful and does not stand a chance. It is going to sink. Go on.
Can I just tell you really quickly from an entertainment reporter standpoint, I'm typically given trailers. I'm typically given a couple of episodes beforehand so that I can review Netflix series and Netflix projects. We weren't given access to the show, and I think that it is proof that Netflix knew that it was not going to get the positive response that they didn't, you know, they knew that it wasn't going to get a positive response. And so, you know, when you worked in entertainment too, you typically get links and you get things beforehand so that the second the embargo's up, you can post that article about your review and everybody can see it. That was not the case here. We didn't get extra pictures to use for media. Like, they have been very secretive about this project, and I think ultimately it was because they didn't believe in it.
It's a surefire sign. It's absolutely surefire sign. When you know a production that's supposed to be released soon, that around it it's kind of wall of silence. You don't get any clips, you don't get any press releases or anything. It's a surefire sign that the company behind it has no confidence in it, and I can see why they had no confidence in this. It just proves that Harry, he has no idea about all, you know, normal people, and I don't think she does any either. This was the couple that promised to produce content full of hope, inspirational content full of hope. As I said earlier, never mind full of hope. Polo is hopeless, absolutely hopeless. I mean, just quickly, we're going to have to go in a second, Kinsey. This is it. I mean, the Netflix contract has to go, doesn't it? It won't last.
I'd say it depends on what their agreement is for the retail arm of American Riviera Orchard. But when you say Meghan can't relate to other people, I just remind you that she used to eat at the $4.99 salad bar at the Sizzler. Okay, Kevin, never forget.
Oh, yeah, but she doesn't like to talk about it. She never mentions it. Kinsey, I'll talk to you next week for your podcast. Recollections may vary. I'll look forward to that.